Okay, so it is story time. I took the trip of my dreams recently, went to Japan for the first time ever, all alone, and I wanted to share some little fun moments for you all. More of a show and tell kind of story time. Basically, I had the time of my life. I got to fly out to Japan late in May and just explore the country, have a blast. I took so many photos, some videos. I took them for me. I made a plan to not make content out of this trip, but more so just enjoy having a vacation for myself. And it's been, or rather it was, such an incredible trip. And I just want to say, before I get into all of the pictures and everything, so incredibly grateful for this community for helping me to be able to do things like this, and for YouTube for allowing me to open up my schedule so that I can take a 10-day trip, a solo trip to Japan. And again, for all of you for being so patient with me while I'm out and away and not uploading as frequently. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into this. So, before I took my flight, obviously I've been wanting to go to Japan for so very long. Basically since I was probably like a teenager. I think it's a combination of just the food, the culture. Obviously, video games has an influence on that, at least when I was younger. Just being like, oh my gosh, there's so many great video games that come from Japan. And I think it was the middle of COVID that I was working from home, just stuck at home, and just was going insane. And the only thing that kept me sane during all of that was watching tons of travel videos. And I was always really drawn to all of the Japan travel videos that I kept watching. Found some cool YouTube channels through that, a lot of great videos. And I decided to book my trip to Japan 2 days before I left. I kind of had an idea that I was going to go sometime at the start of the year, but I wasn't really certain, and I wasn't quite sure on like financials and things like that. And then I was just checking prices, and it just so happened that there was a perfect opportunity right at the end of May that was so cheap for round trip flight tickets. And I booked my flight and immediately booked my first hostel that was like halfway into the trip. And then I got an a phone call immediately following booking the hotel saying, hey, we have to cancel or the flight went up by $1,000. And I was like, please cancel this. I do not want this. So then I immediately went furiously online and found another flight that was pretty much the same price. So that worked to my advantage. So then I had a day to pack everything and get ready to go. But anyway, got on my flight, landed in Japan. Welcome to Japan. By the way, these pictures are not good. My iPhone camera, the main camera on here, the glass is like slightly cracked. So all of the photos are blown out. They have lens flares. Hope you enjoy it. There's a few photos I took with my nice camera, but anyway, I took this very long flight. I didn't sleep at all the day before, or rather the night before, because I was like, I'm gonna miss my flight if I don't go, like if I don't wake up. And so I just stayed up all night, got on the flight. It was like a 10-hour flight, plus one layover to San Francisco. And I landed, and it was like probably 4 p.m. when I got into Japan. And I was like, I can't go to bed. I have to just keep powering through it. So I got my little Suica card, which allows you to kind of get your passes for all the public transit, and it allows you to actually purchase things, quite a lot of things throughout the country, whether it's at convenience stores or even some restaurants, do the Suica card. This was awesome. You can also get it on your phone, which is really cool. Just have a mobile pass. And got on the subways. So cool just to take these trains and have them be super efficient, super clean, and just nice to be able to go through. I was panicking though. So this story time is going to be a little chaotic. I wanted to get like this all edited and perfectly situated, but I have so many photos and videos. I'm just going to remember stories as I go along. So just, I hope you enjoy sitting through all of this. But I remember I arrived in the airport And you need like an eSIM when you arrive if you aren't planning on only using Wi-Fi while in another country or having like crazy charges from your phone company. So I arrived in the airport and I was like, okay, I need to get a train to get to my hotel, which was going to be in Shinjuku in Japan, or in Tokyo. And I was sitting in the, like, immediately following all of the security checkpoints, just like the main area, and I'm furiously trying to purchase an eSIM on what was the airport's worst Wi-Fi connection in the world. So I was, no joke, sitting for an hour after this 12 hours of flying in the airport, just like half asleep, trying to get it to connect to their Wi-Fi so that I could get internet, so I could figure out what train to ride. And all of like the Google Translate stuff wasn't working super well, at least the like photo translate apps, because I didn't have an internet connection. Finally, I got it. Finally, I figured out what train to get to. Every single person in the airport was super helpful whenever I was like, please help, I need to go to this station, because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know any Japanese, that couldn't read it, relied exclusively on translation apps, which honestly worked pretty well. But it was a very difficult ride to try to get to the things I needed to do, just being so overwhelmed with everything. But I eventually got on the little train here. Got through some of the stations. There's so many random photos in here of things I just thought was interesting. This reminded me of, what was it, the Exit 8, just seeing some of the like Japanese horror games and the walkways and hallways that you have to walk through. Loved all of the advertisements that were in the trains, just really fun. This is me on like 24 hours of no sleep, exhausted, trying to take some fun selfies. And then finally I got to Shinjuku and got to kind of walk around the city, kind of explore a little bit. And at this point I had dropped off my luggage at the first place I stayed was a Capsule hotel, which I'll talk about in a second. But I dropped off my luggage, decided to just go for a walk, explore the city, and just kind of see what was around. I was just amazed at how many people were out and about, how much lights and incredible things were around. I love the vending machines. Got myself a Japanese Mountain Dew, was it the taiyaki? It's a little fish cake with red bean paste on the inside, and lots of art games. Got this poor goose is all chained up. I thought this was hilarious. Just amazing lights and advertisements and just so many fun things. And let me back up for the pictures here for a second, because I did take some better pictures with my actual camera, and I'll go to that here right now. So these pictures are going to be a little bit out of order, but I figured I'd just show some of these first. These are also raw photos, so I didn't get a chance to edit any of them. But while walking through Shinjuku is really cool because obviously every single like street, alley, something. I just remember the very first like night and day that I was there, I was just walking around being like, oh my gosh, there's just so much of everything to my left, to my right, in front of me, behind me, above me, and just having so much to look at and so much choice for like things to do, places to go eat, somewhere to walk to, and then immediately you would turn a corner, go down a new street, and have the exact same phenomenon happening of just overwhelming amount of stuff everywhere. And it was really cool. But at the same time, I remember I was just walking down a random street and all of a sudden I saw a torii gate in an alleyway. And as you walk through, it just brings you to this little shrine that was kind of tucked away in the middle of the city. And it was really cool to be able to just walk over here, kind of enjoy a little quiet section of this incredibly busy city of Tokyo, and get to see some of the shrines that are just kind of out and about. You can see there's some bigger buildings kind of off in the distance, and people just come here, pay respects for the shrine themselves, and honestly, it was just such a serene little section as you're walking through. Yeah, I was just taking a lot of random photos. You'll see a theme here as we continue to look through these photos of this giant crab that I was enamored by quite a lot. Got some Japanese Coca-Cola truck, pretty cool. This was right behind my capsule hotel that I was staying at. There's this little alleyway that leads to this really cool section called the Golden Gai, which, again, I'll talk about that more shortly. But just cool how it has these little green areas as you walk through the city. Obviously, there's so much concrete, so much neon, so many lights, but then you can always turn a corner and find some beautiful greenery, some fun little places to go. This right here is the Golden Gai section. So what's really cool about this, and what I really loved about this section, was it is just a pretty small space. So from where you can see the front, where obviously the no smoking sign is, all the way back to the white car at the back of the alley, that's the length of it, and the width is probably half that size. But within this space here, and I have plenty of photos of this whole area, within this space are something like, I think, a couple hundred bars that are just tucked away. They all seat somewhere between like 6 and 10 people max, and they're just the tiniest little spaces. They all have their own cool little unique theming to them, and just other random goodies all over the bar space. And whether you want something that has some food there, something just to grab a drink, if you want to talk to other tourists, if you want to find people that are traveler friendly. So a lot of the bars, they did speak English, some of them did not. And it's just cool to kind of find different spaces throughout. I love this little Hello Kitty on the on the street sign. That's fun. Just taking some random photos. It was cool to see just so much, just so much. There's just so much in Japan. There's just one of the little alleyways. So again, you can see so many different signs for each individual bar that is within this space. And it goes up. Some of them are 3 stories high. And these spiral staircases were just absolutely insanely tiny. But coming back over here, this is where I was walking through like the main downtown of Shinjuku. And it was just cool to see so many people out and about. And within the area, it's like all hours of the night, there's just people out and about, grabbing food, grabbing drinks. There's so many of the little claw machine arcade machines. And I just thought there were some really, really funny signs out in this area. Lots of amazing food places. Oyster was pretty good. Didn't go there, but I thought some of these places were pretty cool. Very sweet little storefronts as well. And I know some of these pictures aren't the most interesting thing. I did take a lot of random photos that I was like, oh, this is a kind of fun little space. We had a little kitty. Stop feeding the cat. I was just waiting. And obviously I came back at night to kind of see what this little area was all about. And there's no picture of the cat. Yeah, again, these aren't edited, so my computer's just figuring out what to do with these raw photos right now. Some of them are a little too dark, but that's fine. I'll have to go through and edit these. I'll post these on my Instagram, the ones that I think I really enjoy. But I just really like taking these kind of night photos in this place, seeing all different signs. Troll 2 was the name of one of these bars. Another one had like a little weenie dog on it, and I thought that was pretty funny. Just these tiny little alleyways would lead to new bars, and just tiny fun ephemera everywhere. And got the Rocket Bar down there. I only ended up going to 2 bars in this whole little area. One of which ended up being one of my favorite places actually that I visited throughout my travels, and I'll talk about that, I think, towards the end of the video. But again, this is more just kind of little alleyways and sections around the Golden Gai. I just really thought this was a great place to take some better photos with my camera. This is what the staircases were like, by the way, as you wanted to enter some establishments. You just have to go up these, like, you have to duck your head to get through, because the staircase and the ceiling all go in this like tunnel style, and it's strange, it's bizarre, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. And then one thing that's really cool, a lot of people kind of talk about this place and give it like a cyberpunk aesthetic is what they call it. And it's because there's so many, obviously, tight little corners, tons of cables that run up and above you as you're kind of walking through, and you'll see more pictures of that like this here, that connect all of the little bars. And Well, it's just cool. It's just cool to kind of see, to kind of walk through, and if you're in for it, you can go grab a drink and talk to some random people, and just different little alleyways that kind of go through. I'm trying to see if there's any other very interesting photos. I think there's one, yeah, like this photo of the Japanese businessman, and so he's walking past the Family Mart, little convenience store over here. Some cool trees that were here, more cables. I don't know what these pictures are even at this point. This is that little green area behind the hotel. Got a cool picture of this little scooter here as well. And then this was the shrine at night. You can just kind of walk through and kind of access it whenever you'd like. And if you want to have a nice little calm little section as you're exploring through the city and just need a little bit of a rest and a break, that's where you can go. Lots of food, lots and lots of food options along the way. And then we'll get back to that in a second. Okay, so coming back to my iPhone pictures. I took way more pictures on my phone than I did my main camera. So this is, again, just walking through more of Shinjuku and kind of seeing different little areas and spaces. I loved seeing so many Kirby's in all of the claw machines. And I spent too much money trying to get Kirby's throughout my trip, and I didn't get a single one from a claw machine. I did end up going to the Nintendo store and buying an adorable Kirby plush, but I was very sad that I couldn't actually get any of these in the claw machine. It's very, very difficult. But the food was some of my favorite things while I was out in Japan. I'll have just random pictures that I took. A lot of this stuff is on my Instagram too, but just a little cucumber salad that was pretty good. This is no free feet pictures. This was my accommodation. This was my stay when I first got into Shinjuku, and this was a traditional capsule hotel that had a public bathhouse onsen style. And as you can see, it is the tiniest little capsule, the tiniest little box. There's a little TV that you could turn on and nothing else. There was no air conditioning in this little unit. So it was hot, it was humid. Luckily, I was so exhausted, I just fell asleep immediately. And this whole location was actually really cool. It was $30 US per night. And it was perfect for exactly what I needed, which was my stay in Tokyo was for 2 days before I was going out to Osaka for 4 days. And then I was going to be coming back to Tokyo for, I think, 4 more days. So 4, 8, 10 days total. And I just needed a place to kind of get situated. It didn't need to be crazy. It didn't need to be like super nice or anything. I just needed to kind of stay somewhere. And it ended up being really, really nice, outside of it just being a hot and humid sleeping situation. Inside of the... I don't know what this picture is, but they gave us these little bathrobes that you could kind of sit in and kind of walk around as you needed. But it was cool. There was a kind of public area where people could just hang out and relax. They had a bunch of different like magazines. They had manga and other things like desks to set up so you can just do work, and got to talk to a lot of different travelers, some locals, and had some nice conversations with a lot of different people while in the kind of public space of this unit. The only weird thing, which is kind of a reason why I decided to book this, was they had a very strict rule where you could not stay inside of the building from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. So you had to vacate. You had to leave. You could leave your luggage, luckily, but you had to vacate and get out of there for many hours during the day and couldn't go back in. You couldn't even like go use the restrooms or anything. And that was just due to cleaning reasons. But the reason that worked out super well for me is because I did not want to sleep in. I didn't want to be stuck inside, and I needed a reason to get up, go explore the city more. So it worked out quite well. So on the first actual day that I was up and about, the first morning, I went and found this little place. I think it was called Komita Coffee. And I had no idea what I was ordering. Obviously, I knew the first thing was an iced coffee, but I had no idea what this was. I thought it was more of like a breakfast pancake with whipped cream on top. Turned out to be a delicious but it was not breakfast. It was a dessert. It's like a Danish like pastry with ice cream on top and a cherry. It was delicious. And these right here were the most teeny tiny little things of dark and light syrup. It was fantastic. Had to get myself a 7-Eleven egg sandwich and did a taste test for you all.
I'm sure I look agony right now, but just got the 7-Eleven.
All of my photos are blown out, by the way.
I'm so excited to try this.
So everybody talks about the egg sandwiches, the egg sandos in Japan, and especially at the convenience stores and at 7-Eleven. So I had to do it. Please be warned for this taste test. I look awful and I'm just mouth open with egg.
All right, here we go. Taste test. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this thing's really good.
Still got the egg on my lip. It's gross. It's really good. I got it like 5 times while I was there. Amazing. They had obviously vending machines everywhere. Took a picture of this one in particular because of so many of the Japanese horror games, particularly Chilla's Art games, always have the Suntory Boss ones. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. I have to take a picture of this. But during that morning, I was like, you know what? Okay, I got my first coffee, got my egg sandwich. I'm going to go to one of the like really big parks out here in Shinjuku. And it's supposed to be this beautiful public space that has, I believe it had a shrine in the middle of it. And so I went walking. It was probably a 10-15 minute walk away from my stay. And, and I start walking. I get to the gate and I realize it's closed. A bunch of other people walk up to it and they're like, oh no. And so I go on to Google Maps, which was a lifesaver while I was on this trip. I go on to Google Maps and I check the park and it was closed on the only day I decided to go. It was open every other day of the week except for that one. So I decided to take a detour. I was like, you know what, let's just walk around, see what else I can find. And I stumbled into more coffee, of course. A tiny, tiny little coffee shop that was being run by an elderly couple, and they were so sweet. It was the tiniest little shop, and everything was just wood paneling everywhere. I just got a basic little cup of coffee, and it was really just a really nice moment to just kind of sit down, relax, enjoy a drink, and just keep moving on. There were some great translations while I was out there that I really enjoyed. This steak place. This is the very steak, the big cut of steak. I don't know, I just really enjoyed that. Some very interesting little art pieces, like architecture built into some of these buildings. This giant owl, which was quite bizarre. Again, more of this shrine that I took pictures of with the camera. So I'll just kind of cycle through this. I did a little bit of both for Instagram and just for basic social stuff. Got a little yakitori here, some skewered meats, a little bit of chicken. I think this was a chicken thigh with not leeks, but maybe it was leek. These were great. They look very plain, but the point is you're supposed to dip them in these different sauces, whether it's a wasabi. This was a plum sauce, and I can't quite recall what this one was, but these were delicious, absolutely delicious. Went to another little just izakaya, this tiny little bar restaurant that was just sitting on the side of the street. Got some amazing food. This was a potato croquette, deep fried, like mashed potatoes essentially. I think this was a sardine, I believe. And then obviously I honestly have no idea what this was. I saw them bring this out for somebody else, and no one in this restaurant spoke English, unfortunately. But I would just kind of be like, sumimasen, which is excuse me, or yeah, it's essentially just kind of calling for the waiter. And I in the most basic way, I was like, what was that? Like, what did they order? And I was like, I would like that, please. It looks amazing. And they brought it out, and it was absolutely delicious. The little bean snack. Took a lot of pictures of snacks. Very basic, just peanuts covered in like a little candy coating. They were really, really good. Some Evangelion merch. So cool. And some more night photos of just kind of walking around Shinjuku and seeing all the cool restaurants, cool storefronts. It's just so cool. It's so cool to be able to walk around and see some of these different things. This is one of the major streets in Shinjuku. This is not Shibuya Crossing. This is right near some of the shopping district. And it's cool to see so many, for someone who lives in California, it's cool to see so many pedestrians out and about and people utilizing the streets. As weird as that sounds, like California is such a car-centric city and place. Well, I don't know why I said California city. California is such a car-centric state, and most of the U.S. is too, that it's nice to be able to use public transit and then be able to walk so many places. So it's cool. This is the giant Godzilla head in Shinjuku as well. So many people walking around. It's funny, the Godzilla head, I was curious to know where it was on like the second night that I was in Shinjuku. I was like, oh, I wonder where this is. I had walked past it probably 15 different times. I just never looked up. And I finally looked it up on my Google Maps and saw that it was literally right next to me. I was like, what? Oh, it's right there. So I got some more pictures of that. It's fun little alleyways, took some selfies. Here's more photos of the actual Capsule hotel, just so you can get a better idea of kind of how it was set up. Just stacks of hundreds of these capsules per, I think it was like 3 or 4 stories. Went to a restaurant that was recommended by a local sushi place, and they gave essentially an appetizer that was just a starter for the dish that you don't pay for. It's just part of sitting down. And frankly, I don't know what it was. It seemed like it was a tuna dish with some seaweed, some kelp, and just some other dressings. That was pretty good. Had a bunch of random bottles that were up on the wall right in front of me. But got some really, really good sushi here. I'll be honest, I don't remember exactly what I ordered. I usually get mackerel, tuna, and shrimp. Salmon. And I think that was a fatty tuna right in the middle, but I can't quite recall. Got some eel, some boiled eel. That was delicious. And just some more pictures kind of walking around Shinjuku. So this was the morning when I needed to go to Osaka. I was going to take the bullet train, the Shinkansen. And I started the morning going to this little donut shop that I kept seeing. It was right next to the hotel. And it had a kind of fun little view of the city street here with all the pedestrian crossing. So I enjoyed a little coffee, a little donut there, and walked around a bit before the train, saw this cool bunch of coffee equipment. Wish I could have bought any of this stuff to bring back, but this was like delicate glass for the most part, or ceramics. Pretty unfortunate. Me on the train, getting to the Shinkansen. They had a lot of, inside of the actual stations, fun little shops that were set up where you could buy little gift bundles and snacks and other goodies. And when I actually got onto the Shinkansen, I made sure to buy a bento box of some just different food. And this was the box that I picked out. I just thought it looked cool. And I was like, oh, hopefully there's good food in it. And when I opened it up, I was like, oh, this looks delicious. Very, very good. It was a cold box, so it had a bunch of rice that you could eat with the different foods here. Obviously, we had our salmon. This was a few deep fried vegetables, some more veggies, and some pastes. I think there were a couple fish cakes. I don't know what these were, but they were delicious. Everything in this was delicious. This was the most intriguing thing. This was a sour plum, and I've never had that before. And it was quite the mouth sensation to eat it, but it was very good. It's very, very good. I deleted a lot of videos of the train ride as I was kind of sorting through these, trying to figure out what I should keep in this little slideshow for you all. So I might skip through some of these, but it was fun just being able to kind of sit there, watch the city go by, seeing some of the countryside. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to see Mount Fuji, or at least I don't think I saw Mount Fuji. It was very, not hazy, but it was a little bit cloudy during the day when I was taking the train out there, and I thought maybe I saw an outline of it off in the distance, but it was so hard to tell from anything. Many different train videos. It was by far the most confusing part of this, of the whole trip, until about halfway through when I got used to how the train systems worked. I didn't miss a single train, and I didn't get on the wrong train except for one time. And even if you get on the wrong train, you can just get off, get to the other side of the station, and start going the other way. The thing that I found most helpful was literally as I'm kind of navigating myself on Google Maps, trying to figure out which train to get on and which station it was, I would actually orient myself, because obviously your phone shows you which direction you're facing. So if I knew a train would be heading that direction, I don't know, east or west, north or south, whatever it might be, I would orient myself before the train got there, facing the direction that I knew the train needed to go, so that when it actually arrived, if it was coming the correct direction, I could be like, okay, I'm pretty safe to know that this is going to keep going this way, and it's the correct train to get on. Luckily, there's so much English that is available as you're kind of going through that it does make it easy, but sometimes you jump on a train and you're like, is this the right one? And then the doors close, and then it cycles to the English variation, and you're like, okay, this is the right one. This is the right one. But I arrived in Osaka. I was not directly in like the main downtown of Osaka, but I was a little bit south near the Dotonbori, which was an amazing little area. This one, I stayed at a more traditional hostel, and this one was more bunk bed style. It was a reggae themed hostel, which was a bit bizarre. I didn't know that booking it ahead of time, but it ended up being pretty cool for the most part. Had these amazing Pikachu vending machines, which were really cute. Really love seeing that. And this was the little balcony in the hostel itself. So you could sit here, look at the canal, and I took a little video as well. It was very peaceful, very, very beautiful out. The weather was incredible for pretty much the entire time I was there. Very, very temperate. It was like 70s, like probably high 70s most of the time. Maybe it got into the 80s, but it was very, very, very nice. But what was really cool was being able to go out after I checked in, got to go walk over to the Dotonbori area, and this was just crazy the way it was set up. It was interesting that they had like these Christmas lights on this kind of main street right before this main downtown area. And this was about probably like a 5 to 10 minute walk from the hostel itself. So it was very, very close, which was really great. So this is the whole canal section that has all of these very prominent signage and lights and neon. This Glico sign is very famous in the area. And this was more so, it's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell because in the US, you go to a major city and you can kind of figure out what is a touristy area. This felt a little bit touristy, at least right here on the canal, but it wasn't until you kind of spread off away from just this canal section that it kind of felt a little bit less like a tourist trap. But I still very much enjoyed hanging out there, got some fun little selfies, got a few videos. There were a ton of people in this section, and you'll see an insane number of people shortly in some of these like kind of alley tunnel sections. Like this. This is just shops. So essentially the canal is right behind where I took this photo. And then there's just these kind of covered streets that are just lined with shops and thousands upon thousands of people. But it's so cool to just kind of walk around and be almost like you're very alone when you're walking in a crowd. And it's hard to explain, but it's kind of fun to just explore, people watch. This giant thing that you'll see, this is called Don Quixote, and it's like the equivalent of like the 99-cent store kind of of the US. So it's all like cheap goods, but that giant yellow thing is, I didn't get a chance to take it, but it's a big like Ferris wheel, more of a Ferris oblong, but it takes people up and you can ride on that, and I think it was like 500 yen. It's pretty cheap, something like that. But that was cool to see this giant structure, and going inside is absolutely chaotic. The takoyaki, the little fried octopus balls, are delicious out there. This one was right on the canal, so it was a little busy. I still got a chance to kind of get through and get some tasty little treats, get some snacks. This was the final product of it. Got a little video too. Got the little bonito, what is it, bonito flakes? It's a shaved fish, like very, very thin. So the reason it moves is the steam actually is kind of pushing it around. It's not live or anything like that. Camera. But yeah, this is the little shop where I picked that up at. Right on the canal. It's really cool. This is me in front of the donkey. It's massive. It's massive. And this is what the store looks like. I didn't take a lot of pictures inside, but it is chaos. It is absolute chaos if you're going at most times of the day and night. Lots of Kirby's. I had to take more pictures. Little Miniki Nikos. I really like these ones. I unfortunately didn't find more of them later on in my trip, these particular ones, so I didn't buy one. But I was looking around quite a lot for them. But within the chaos, it was very peaceful at the same time. So you could kind of step off to the side, go up to the railings, and just watch the little boats go down the canal. Listen to some people who are playing music off in the distance. There's a different angle of it. That's the Don Quixote right here in the top right. It was cool. It was really cool to be able to walk around. And then just like one street over from the canal, there was so many different shops, so many different restaurants, so much different food, and so much cool randomness. It's so hard to explain. I think while I was there, they were also doing this giant, I don't know if it was called I don't know if it was a convention, but there's something going on that was related to like a multicultural, multi-country kind of event that was going on, and that was pretty cool. I love these silly little crab guys. I took so many photos and videos of these guys. Don't ask me why. But I love them. And every time I saw it, I was like, yes. Yes, this deserves a 15-second video. Here's a giant tuna, 59 kilograms. Amazing. It was bleeding into the ice. It was pretty cool. Didn't go into that place. Loved this little guy. I don't know the background of this little mascot for this store, but I went into the store because I was like, oh, what is this? What is this little clown guy? And this is what it looked like. It was just a bunch of just fun goodies, souvenirs. They had some snacks. They had whatever this little guy is that I really enjoyed. It's like French fries. I don't know what's going on with this. Maybe somebody can give me some reference if you live in Japan.
I'm having the absolute time of my life.
Oh yeah, this is great.
Here in Japan. I'm in Osaka
These angles,
right now, walking through the
by the way.
Dotonbori, and I went into this little confectionery, gift shop, candy store, souvenirs.
Just the one I just
and
showed.
I was cracking up because I'm using Google Translate, like Google Lens kind of deal for doing translations for everything. And I saw this cool hat. I was like, oh, what is this? And it had some Japanese characters on it. And I looked it up, and it just says yakitori, which is obviously some of the food here. But I don't know why, it just cracked me up. I was like, I expected it to be like the city's name that I'm in. It's just a food. I kind of want to go buy it.
Unfortunately, I didn't go buy it, but I really considered it. I really did consider it. Walking around more, found some really interesting places. There was this little spiral staircase that I saw, and they had a bunch of signs for little bars. There's a place called the Loopy Purr. I was like, oh, that seems interesting. Maybe I'll check that out at some point. Saw this dude carrying his cat around. This cat was having the best time of its life. It's pretty cool. There was this cool billboard that just had pictures of everybody. I was having an awful time getting to frame myself in the video. Oops, looking at the camera, not the screen. There I am. And I always love the fake food displays that they have in Japan. So this was obviously shrimp and just different beef that you could order. I actually ended up getting some of the shrimp. It's pretty good. It's just basically fire grilled and just sprinkled some salt and other random seasonings on it. It's delicious. I don't know what this was. This was in the energy drink section. I looked it up after the fact, and apparently it used to be advertised as a health drink. I think it's just an energy drink. It was delicious. But same thing as within Shinjuku, when I was in Osaka, late at night, walking around all this crazy busy atmosphere, randomly I would just walk down an alleyway and find a shrine. And it was just such a beautiful thing to just walk in and find these peaceful little sections of the city, and very, very cool. So after I walked around here, I was like, you know what? I want to go back to this random spiral staircase bar, the Cafe Loopy Purr. And that's when I ran into this little guy. This little guy. It was very similar to some of the bars that were in the Golden Gai, which is just the really tiny ones. This one seated maybe like 10, 15 people. But this guy that owned and ran the bar, he basically set up all of the space for his two cats, which were these two very fluffy, adorable cats. And they were the sweetest little cats I've ever met in my life. I was just over there petting it. I was like, oh my gosh, you're so cute. But outside of that, he had like giant projectors on the screen with like an aquarium, another one with like surfing, and then a bunch of like antique video game, like handheld, like mechanical ones, and then he had an N64 set up. There was a foosball table. Just a pretty cool little atmosphere. Oh yeah, Super Smash Brothers set up there. It was cool. There's a little view from up atop the spiral staircase. And this is where my hotel was. So this is the hostel. It's called Hostel Chillax. It was very chillax, that's for sure. The window right here, this is the balcony. You had to walk through the window, which was pretty hilarious. This is the bathroom there. It's cool, like hanging mirror. I was like, oh, that'd be cool. Cool little spot. So anyway, next day, Osaka, I decided to kind of go walk around a bit. I was like, I really want one of my favorite coffees, which is an espresso tonic. And I just looked up espresso tonic on Google Maps and started walking somewhere and saw some cool buildings, had to take some pictures of them, and found this amazing little coffee shop. Mondial is what it was called. And very small, like you just walk in. Everything behind is the roaster and their shop. And then literally where I took the picture is the only place that you can stand. There's some seats outside so that you can sit down, but they had some cool little pour over ceramics. I got a matcha banana bread, I think it was. Got my espresso tonic. It spilled everywhere, spilled on my shirt. Then I went back to the Dotonbori during the day. Got these delicious, these were so good. It was a custard. It was an egg custard. This one was an egg custard. And this one was I don't even remember. This made me so hungry. I think this was like a cinnamon apple custard little pie. Very delicious. Very worthwhile. Very worthwhile. There was a strange amount of Spider-Men just set up around town too. I had to take some pictures of that. Random little alleyways. I think, I took a little selfie on a timer here, which was cool. Of course, I had to get my favorite little crab picture again. Very good. 2 videos back to back. Pretty sick. Got my first bowl of ramen while I was there. This was, I'll be honest, this one was extremely underwhelming. This was right in the middle of what I felt was like a very touristy kind of section. And it was just okay. I mean, it was good ramen, but it wasn't the best ramen I've ever had. Great presentation, great little spot. Also, very unfortunately, there was a hair in my ramen, so I did not finish it. Very unfortunate indeed. This little space, if I'm remembering correctly, I decided to take... Is this? Yeah. Okay. So I decided to take one of the trains about 10 minutes south of my area to the Shinsekai, which was this cool little section. I don't even remember what this tower was called, but it was... I'm sure if you look up the Shinsekai in... Osaka, Japan, you'll find this whole little area and figure out what this giant tower was called. I should have written this down and like put this for the video for y'all. Sorry. But I walked around here, very cool little section, and to be honest, I was going to check out a tattoo shop because I was curious about getting a tattoo in Japan, and there was one that was recommended in the section, and I got a whole story about this coming up, but I went and checked out the tattoo shop, just talked to them for a little bit. I was checking to see if a specific artist had any availability, and they were supposed to be in that day, but they didn't show up because I don't think any appointments were set up, but they only had 2 more days that they were going to be there. So I was like, okay, keep me updated if anything opens up. In the meantime, I'm going to walk around and explore this. Oh yeah, it's just called Expo 2025. Welcome to Osaka. So I think that's why there was an exceptionally large amount of people in the area. Here's me with the tower. This was underneath it. This cool mural, some peacocks. It's very cool. It's me also in these little city area, little streets, doing some silly selfies. I loved all of the public announcement kind of signage that was around. I love this little crow. So it's just like, I gotta take a picture of this. I need to take a picture. This is from one of the platforms. This is one of the above ground platforms. Most of them are underground, subway style. Slightly humid while I was there, but I'm used to humidity traveling to other places like the South, and lived in Nashville for a little bit. This is the actual like reception at the hostel. They had a Mario Kart set up, which is cool. And then it started raining. I think this is the second night in Osaka. This is the first time we got rain. It was very light drizzle. So it was kind of fun to walk around and see the city with the rain, fresh rainfall, all of the lights bouncing off of the streets and sidewalks and everything. It's very beautiful to kind of be out there. Everybody had the clear umbrellas. I did have a non-clear umbrella, so mine wouldn't get stolen on accident. Because usually you leave them outside of a store, and if you have a clear umbrella, they're all the same. So people just accidentally grab yours. Not that they're any different from one another, but if you have like a specific one that you don't want to lose, you might lose it. So that was that. Then I walked through the kind of covered section. I was just curious. It's really interesting. One thing I really enjoyed while spending my time out there was just walking around and kind of seeing where it took me. Trying to find just the most random little spots, trying to find some random food. And I probably should have said this at the very beginning of the video, but I really didn't have any plans after I booked my flight. I knew where I was going to stay twice, and that's it. I didn't have any specific spots that I had planned out. I didn't have any like special food places that I wanted to go to. I tried not to look up any lists so that I wouldn't be stuck into any like tourist traps or things that were extremely overbooked or like overhyped on like TikTok or Instagram or anything like that, because that happens a lot with places that have a lot of travel. So found a little, I don't even remember what this place is called, but it's the guy that had the like face. I'm sure I had a picture up front, but it was just, yeah, it just was all deep fried stuff. It was very good. It's very delicious. You just kind of drizzle the sauce on top of it. Yes, this guy's everywhere out in Osaka, and had some really good fried food there. Got some strawberry on a stick. The sugar was like an inch thick. It's very hard to bite through, but it's very delicious. More crab. Love it. There's so many of these crabs. This is just a random alleyway I decided to walk through. It's very cool. Again, the iPhone video is so blown out, so sorry about that. Looks better on the phone, but I try, literally every time I was shooting a video, I was like trying to lower the brightness or the exposure every time, and it was very difficult to kind of get through. So from here, I went back to the main Dotonbori area, which was on the canal, and this was another like right in the middle of the like most busy section. Got some of these, I forget what they're called right now. It's the weird Japanese pancake dish that is like potato, shrimp, obviously that's mayonnaise on top, and I don't think that's eel sauce, but was like a sweet teriyaki. It's very interesting, very good. It was huge. It was massive. It was me in the rain, more in the rain. Me walking through the rain, walking across the streets. Not much else to see here, I'll be honest. This is a sign for the Dotonbori. This was me walking back to my hostel after a long night. In the main, like, downtown strip, I'll just call it, you could tell that it was like they were jacking up prices for tourists and for travelers, because I got, in almost every meal, you just get a beer in Japan. It's just like the very normal thing to do. And usually a beer is like 300 yen, which is like less than $2 US. And I remember one place charged me 1,500 yen for one beer. And I was like, okay, I'm not getting anything else from here. I love seeing this strange little things. So this was on my walk back. I just saw all these little guys. I don't know what it is, but I loved it. And there was a giant crane. After I got back to my hostel, sitting out on the patio, just enjoying the night, just relaxing. And I heard this loud shriek of a bird, and I looked over and it's this giant crane that flew by. It's very, very dark, so I had to jack up the exposure on this. It was cool. We just landed on a little buoy. Woke up the next morning, decided to go to a coffee shop that just caught my eye. I was like, oh, this looks cool. Very cool interior. I got some kind of a latte and pain au chocolat. I don't know how to pronounce that. A little, basically a croissant with chocolate in the middle. Very good. Very delicious. Very powerful, very beautiful, very powerful. But yeah, real cool shop. Very, very cool interior. And so, while I was in Osaka, my plan was to travel to a couple different locations around Osaka. So this is me getting on the train, going to Nara, which is where the famous Nara Park is, where all the bowing deer are located. So I took quite a lot of videos of trains and trying to capture some little scenery as I'm going through. This is right before it goes, I think it was under, like through this small hill, mountain. It's very beautiful. Cool to see all the scenery just passing by, seeing more of the, I don't know if it would be considered rural, but it's just closer to the mountains, a little bit off. It's not even really, it's not rural, but it's not even like suburb either, because it's still pretty like big city in these off, like outside of the major city center areas. Wow, I can't speak. But yeah, it's cool to just kind of see some of these different sections. I took a lot of videos of this, so we're just gonna keep passing through. That's enough travel. That's enough travel, Jacob. So this is just outside the station in Nara. And once you get off of the train, then it's like a 10-minute walk to actually get to the park. And start walking through, and you just immediately start seeing deer. And they just start assembling so quickly. And it's so cute. They all just, they bow at you. Because that's basically, you can buy these little crackers while in the park from vendors, and those are the only things that you're supposed to feed the deer. And the deer have been trained over time to bow for people for a cracker, and it's really cute. And it's kind of scary too, because sometimes these deer get really aggressive. Definitely stepped in a big old pile of poop at a certain point. Had to scrape that off later in the day.
Very aggressive.
Yeah. Saw a couple people get headbutt.
Very common.
Yeah, most of them.
The second they see a cracker, a little snack.
Yeah, they do. They are chasers for sure. Trying to get some little selfies. Oh my gosh, it's so overexposed. It's awful. It's fine. You're just getting the vibe. You're getting the vibe. This guy's just chilling. I think I took too many pictures of the deer, because I took a lot of photos with my nice camera too. So I'm gonna cycle through these really quick. The giant buff maneki nekos were really funny. Oh, this was cool. It's just this little waterway right off of the walkway. These deer were just playing in the water. It was very beautiful. These beautiful maple trees shading them too. Drinking some water. Japan has such an interesting dichotomy of having these crazy packed, busy areas and then such peaceful sections right next to each other. And it's beautiful. It's very beautiful. But one of the main things was going to a shrine here in Nara Park. And again, I'm so sorry, I don't have the names of any of these like major locations, but this is one of the Buddhist shrines and has this giant, massive Buddha statue inside. You can see how massive this is, just the scale. These tiny people down here below next to this giant structure. And we'll go inside in a second. There's a place where you could light some incense on the outside. There was some kind of school field trip when I was here. There were so many kids in uniform. It was overwhelming. It was packed. Not just the shrine, but the park too. I think I went at just the wrong time to get all the school field trip kids kind of running around. Look how massive this is. It's crazy. Just the scale, it's so hard to represent scale in photos and videos. I mean, you can kind of get an idea, but it was pretty wild. So there were a couple different statues. The one on the right here, this is the massive one. It's hard to tell from this picture, but they have a section in this shrine that has a hole in it in one of these pillars. And it is said to be the same size as the nostril. And essentially, it's a challenge to see if you can fit through it. And there's a massive line with all the school kids, so I obviously didn't get a chance to get in line for that. But a human can fit into the nostril here, which is just insanely massive. It's huge. Trying to get some people for scale. Took a couple little videos as I was going through. And this little section, I took more photos with my main camera. I'll pull that up in a second. And all these candles that you could put down and light. It's cool. It's cool to see so much history when I was out in Japan. We have the scale model of the two pagodas that were on the side. I can't quite recall, but I think one of them or both of them no longer are present, or at least aren't there in the same capacity. So that was like the scale model of it. But yeah, this is just right outside the temple. Very beautiful kind of water section. All this greenery, little waterfalls. Just gorgeous. Took a lot of opportunities just to kind of sit down and relax and honestly just drink in the atmosphere. One thing that I always really love about solo traveling is being able to take moments for yourself. And obviously being able to travel with other people is such an incredible thing because you get shared opportunities and shared experiences with others. But if I just decided one day that I'd be like, you know what, I'm just going to go walk to this temple. I'm going to go sit down and sit by the water for 20, 30 minutes. You can just do that. And you can change plans. You can shift what you're doing. You can really just kind of go with the flow as you're traveling. This is more of Nara Park. Again, this is close to the temple section. Not as many deer in this area. But immediately after you walk out is when all the deer show back up. And they just start going crazy. Got a little slushy because it was a very hot day that day. And inside one of the shops, they had these cute little cut veggies, pickled veggies, and they cut them in the shape of the deer, which I thought was really, really cute. Lots of beer when I was out there. If you're not a beer drinker, then it's difficult out there because it's a lot of beer. They serve a lot of beer out there. I thought it was pretty good. It was fun to grab a little beer with a meal. This was a fried rice dish with some just beef on top. I think it was like I don't know what it was specifically. I didn't get any Wagyu. There was a lot of Wagyu on the menu, especially out towards Nara and Osaka, but I didn't get any. But this was still delicious. So, so good. This was my little view from the restaurant. Getting to see some of the hills, all of the beautiful leaves and everything that were out there. It's just so serene. And then this little guy, he was the authorized personnel. He just kept going around and sniffing everybody. Came right up to me.
What are you doing? Stop it.
He kept trying to like bite me or something. I think he was just curious more so than anything. It was cute. Cute to see some of these deer.
He's just out here.
This guy was just full on petting the deer, which is kind of crazy. They don't normally want to be touched from what I could tell. So it's kind of wild to see some people just like get all up in their face. Like, these are fully wild animals. These are just fully wild animals. So that was the strange thing of just being like, oh my gosh, there's just a lot. There's a lot of stuff going on with them. This is some of the... Oh, so I decided, I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to start heading back. I was starting to get so exhausted. And then I was like, you know what is this little pathway up here? And I was like, I should go ahead and take this. But before I go into that, let me show you some of the nicer photos I took with my camera. Okay, so these are the photos I took with my like nice Sony camera. Again, these are not edited, so the color grading and exposure stuff needs to be set, but again, you'll get an idea of how many photos I took of all of these little deer. They're very cute. This guy's just enjoying his little cracker. I took a lot of photos of him. This lady's like sweeping around them, picking up the poop. There's a lot of poop. There's a lot of poop. I love this little guy, just sitting right outside the shop. He was really cool. Got a good photo of him. So cool. This was that little kind of watery area where some of the deer were drinking out of the stream. Much nicer photos of that. Fortunately, I only brought a very wide angle lens, so it was difficult to get some more far away shots for myself. This poor lady. Oh yeah, this has got some more of the actual shrine with this camera. There's some cool, there's like blocked off by these screens, but they have these big statues within the immediate like entrance to the shrine too. It was cool. It's really cool. More the field trip kids. And more of the entrance. This was the main entrance to the shrine itself, or to the actual like garden of the shrine before getting to the major building. Oh, and I took some really great photos of the maple leaves. I really like these. They're so tiny. I don't think I've never seen like a Japanese maple in the flesh. So it's cool to see these trees and all these tiny little leaves. This is more of the grounds. This is inside of like the actual walled off section. They have to pay to actually get in. This is, again, probably like 500 yen. Everything's very, very cheap compared to the US at least, when trying to access things, get food and other things. Beautiful lawn. Kind of getting through, seeing more of the actual shrine. Got a bunch of duplicate photos. I was testing out just different angles and some different aperture and other things when going through this. I like this one. You can see the recreation of the giant Buddha statue in here. It's cool. And this was the little waterfall section. It's very beautiful. And that's all I took on my main camera. So the rest of it is iPhone photos. Hope you enjoy. So I got to see some little baby deer. So cute. Kind of walking up the little pathway. I was like, okay, what's over here? And started to see some more... Oops, didn't mean to do that. Started to see some more shrines and all of these things that set up. Just walking right up to these little dudes. So funny. It's just so funny. They're all just chilling out here. He's bowing to me. He's like, huh? Cracker? Give me treats? Maybe? Who knows? Get some better photos. This is just a nice little mossy growth in this overhang, which was really cool. Yeah. And then as I kept walking further, I saw some of these torii gates and even more deer. This guy, he's really going for it, trying to pet this deer. It did not want him to. He tried a few times. It didn't quite work out after the first attempt. But yeah, it's such a cool little area. I mean, it wasn't little, it was massive. It was just this massive section. But yeah, I had no idea this whole section was up here until I decided to take like a 5-minute walk up this area, just on like a complete opposite side of where the Buddha shrine was. And I think this one was a Shinto shrine. I don't know specifically. I wish I did a little bit of looking up of some of these shrines that I went to, but it's tough to keep them all in my head of which one was which. So again, I apologize. I'm not the best tour guide. This is not a travel video. This isn't travel tips and tricks. This is just me sharing my experience and just the fun stuff that I got to experience and see. So many cutesy things when I was out there that were amazing. This was me back in the Dotonbori. And, oh, yeah. So I took the train back, got back to my hostel, and I was like, okay, I need to go find some food. I walked around for probably an hour trying to figure out what I wanted to eat, because it was hard to find. You're crippled by choice when you're out there. There's just so much. There's so much going on. And so I eventually just stumbled across this place, saw that they were serving some tempura. I originally wanted to get some like good sushi, but I was like, you know what? This sounds pretty good. So walked in, was seated. They're very nice, very sweet people working at the counter. Got my order in, and they brought out the best tempura I've ever had in my entire life. And I don't know how it would be topped at any point. This was a delicious little miso soup. This was the dipping, like, broth for the tempura. But it was so good, I had to go through and order more. So originally got some like Japanese pumpkin, got some shrimp. I think this was a fish cake. I think this was octopus or squid. And I don't remember what that was, I'll be honest. But it was delicious either way. For this one, I got some more, I think it was like a whitefish fish ball. I don't remember. Oh, this was a really interesting one that I don't remember what it was. This was a pepper. This was more pumpkin. This was really interesting. I wish I wrote down what I got. Dang. I went back to Cafe Loopy Purr. This is more of like the interior. This place was cool because all of these small bars were really, really cool because you could just sit down and talk to people for hours. And that's something that I really, really enjoyed at my stay in Japan, was just talking to so many people and just getting to connect with others. It was great. So next day, got up, I was like, you know what? I'm going to Osaka Castle. This should be fun. This was another little train ride, maybe like 5 minutes. It was very close to where I was at. But I went downtown. It was just these massive buildings everywhere and got to walk right up to the barrier to Osaka Castle. And what's crazy about this is, it's so hard to visualize this. This is massive. And I even used my finger for reference. This is probably like 4 or 5 stories from the water to where I'm standing. It's a massive space. And I got some more like people in pictures off in the distance for scale, hopefully. But like, this is just crazy huge. So there was one moat, I guess. And then this is like this secondary moat that didn't have water. This is just grass filled. But you can see those tiny people over there for this area. Like, this part was not as massive as the water-filled area. You can see so many people just kind of walking up, checking out, going to explore the castle. And as you walk closer, you get to see it popping up out of the walls of the castle itself, which was this massive thing. You can see tiny little people up at the top. You could pay money to go in there. The rest of it to walk up is free. I didn't end up going to like inside and up there. I figured if I'm back in Japan again, I can do that at some point. But for this one, I just wanted to kind of walk around the grounds and kind of see what was around there. But it was beautiful. Like it's crazy just the scale of some of this stuff. Look, the little tigers at the top, the gold leafed or gold plated design work, and it's just so cool. So cool. It's me. It's very bright out. I did a couple pictures with my sunglasses and I was like, I look like a dork. I need to take these off. And I was like, I can't see. Matcha ice cream, more castle. You don't need videos of the castle. You saw the castle 50 times. But yeah, this is a little bit more scale. You can see a person right here. Like, it's huge. The person way over there. It's like each of these rocks, like, these are huge rocks. I don't know how to, I just thought it was astounding getting to see how massive all of this was. It's so blown out, you could barely see the background city, but you get the idea. Yeah, it's a little bit better. Some more pictures of the castle. Again, I was just trying to get the scale of this with some of these videos. I was like, okay, if you look up, it just keeps going and going and going, and then you got some tiny people up there. Here's more of the castle, like right up front to it. And then I went back, got myself some pork katsu with an egg as well. This was pretty good. A little curry egg and rice. Yeah, it was good. It wasn't one of my favorite dishes, but it was still delicious nonetheless. It's so hard to have any bad food in Japan. You can have preferences. This just wasn't one of my preferences. But it was still incredibly well made, if that makes sense. Oh, yes. So, okay, so story time. A little bit more story time for you all. I decided to get back from Osaka Castle, and I was supposed to leave this day to go back to Tokyo, if I'm not mistaken. And it was either this one or the next day. I think it was this day. We'll just say it was this day. I was supposed to go back to Tokyo to go to Shibuya for my next accommodation. I still hadn't booked it, by the way. I didn't have anything booked. And at this point, I had gotten word back from the tattoo artist saying, hey, the tattoo artist has availability on Friday, which was the day I was supposed to be back in Tokyo. It's like, we have availability on Friday at 4 p.m. And I was like, okay, book it. So I booked it. And then I immediately went into panic mode because I did not have a hotel for that night or any way to get anywhere. And so I was staying an extra day in Osaka that I wasn't planning on. So I went back to my hostel. I was like, hey, how much would it cost to stay one more night? And the dude was like, you're great. We love having you here, but we are 100% booked up tomorrow. And I was like, oh no, that's not good. So I was like, you know what? Let's leave it up to fate. And woke up the next morning. Oh, no, wait. I can't remember the order of this. Yeah. So I woke up the next morning. This is from here. Oh no, this was the next morning. So this is the next morning. I put my luggage down in the like common area of the hostel. I was like, I can pick this up later, right? And they're like, yes. I was like, cool. So I went and explored Osaka Castle, did all of this fun stuff while I was still in the city. And then I was like, okay, well, it's like 4 p.m. I needed to be at the downtown in Shinsekai, which again was about like 15 minutes south of where my hotel was by train. So at this point, I grabbed all my luggage back because it was too late in the day to keep it there. And I walk over to the tattoo shop. They said it was going to take about 3 hours. So from like 4 to 7 maybe. One of the bartenders in Shinjuku that was an incredible dude, he invited me to go to a jazz show in Osaka on this Friday night. So I was like, perfect, I'm gonna get the tattoo, then I'm gonna go to the jazz show. This is gonna be great. I was at the tattoo shop until 10 p.m. From 4 to 10, just getting my leg ground up with ink. And it was a great time, but I still did not have a hotel for that night. So as soon as I got out of the tattoo shop, obviously I was wearing my shorts and I had a wrapped up tattoo, and it was obviously very fresh. So it was still a little bloody and a little inky. And I was like, I need to get some food. So I went to some random place in the Shinsekai. This was probably one of my favorite meals of the whole trip, was this udon bowl with the raw egg yolk on top. And oh my gosh, this was so good. It had, in the little teapot right here, was the broth that you poured on top. You got to mix in the egg yolk with everything. And then I ordered this little side, which was essentially, it was egg, like whisked egg with prawns in the middle. So a little shrimp. And that was really good too. But man, this was such a great dinner. And then as soon as I finished the dinner, like I was like, okay, search for hotels, what's nearby? Found a place, started walking. It was like 10-minute walk. Keep in mind, I have this on my thigh, this giant tattoo on my thigh, fresh. So I'm walking around trying to get to this hostel or this hotel. And then I realize I should check if they have availability, because I'm just going off of Kayak. And I try to book the hotel while walking and realize that it is 100% booked up. Keep in mind, this is a Friday night in like this downtown area. And I checked like 3 other places. They were all booked up. And I was like, oh no, what did I do? So then I found somewhere really close to like this whole Shinsekai area. It was actually in Shinsekai. And I walked in. I was like, do you have an availability? They're like, yes. I was like, thank you. It was the most expensive booking of my entire trip. It was $100 for the night, which is, again, not that expensive. But this was a budget trip. But it was $100 for the night. So I got my thing. It was just so funny. I was walking around with this, like, I probably looked like a crazy person because I had all of my luggage. It was just a backpack and carry-on. And my leg was like dripping ink and blood, and just walking around at like 10 p.m. at night in this downtown area. People were like looking at me like, huh? But it wasn't too crazy. Took some more photos while I was around there. Some cool signage. Very sweet. And yeah, just some other areas that I was walking around. So then the next morning I woke up, I was like, all right, I got to get back to Tokyo. It's a 4-hour bullet train ride. First thing I did, got up, kind of walked around the immediate area of the hotel, found this cozy little cafe, got a little iced coffee with ice cream on top, and this freshly made egg sandwich. I'll be honest, this was really good. It had like horseradish in it and maybe some wasabi. It had a very fresh taste to it, but I definitely liked the convenience store egg sandwiches more. It was a little drizzly on this morning when I got up. Sick McDonald's. I was tempted to go to McDonald's at least once in Japan because apparently it is a lot better, but I couldn't do it. But yeah, had to get back on my train. And I had the brilliant idea of being like, you know what? Before I go back to Tokyo, I'm gonna go to Kyoto for the day with my fresh tattoo leg. And so I got on a train to Kyoto, which was about an hour-long normal train, not the bullet train, and just decided to kind of get off and go. There were a few places I wanted to check out in Kyoto, and looking back, I wish I had stayed in Kyoto like for at least one night or one day, because I really, really enjoyed it. Got some little tasty treats. This was walking into kind of the main downtown area of Kyoto. Beautiful canal, rainy. Walking into the city. I got some really tasty snacks on one of the little shops that was out there. Like those little rice crackers that you can buy. Oh, these were so good. These hand-rolled onigiri. Oh man, I got like a bunch of different ones. This one was like a sweet plum. This is a smoked salmon and avocado. This was just an egg. This one was a teriyaki shrimp. And this was a more like an egg souffle, and this was just more traditional egg. Those were really, really good. This is another tiny little canal in the middle of the city. I just love the mix of all the greenery amongst the craziness of the city itself. Another angle, little sideways video. And then I decided to go to the Thousand Torii Gates Shrine. And this was at about 4 p.m. probably. It was raining. And I had an incredible time walking around this. You are just walking straight upstairs the entire time. Again, fresh tattoo on my thigh made this a little bit difficult just because I was like straining and my whole thigh was sore. So it wasn't the best case scenario to do this. I wish I had the time to walk up the entire mountain and get to see like all of the gates and everything, but I'm glad that I was able to go to this during a rainy time because it felt like there were not that many people at all. There were a lot of people that were like at the main entrance and like the first maybe 100 gates that you walk through. Obviously people taking all of their photos going through, but as soon as you walk past like the first like main kind of walkway, which is right here, it was empty. And it just kept getting darker and darker and rainier as I was walking through. And I was absolutely loving walking through here. It was beautiful. You had this just forest all around you. And this was just like a 5-minute, maybe 5-10 minute train ride from like the main downtown of Kyoto. Here's me being a dummy, keep looking at the camera for too long, just awkwardly. I don't know what I was doing. I kept bringing the umbrella down as I was walking through all of these areas. Little water runoff section I thought was kind of interesting. Also, the jagged me bringing the camera up, I was doing this all one-handed because I'm holding an umbrella, so I had to hit record and then like grab it and position it so I could get smooth shots. I didn't edit any of this ahead of time, so you're getting the raw stuff here. Very peaceful. You can see there was nobody around as you got further and further up. And it's a long walk. I probably walked for at least 30 minutes one direction before I turned around, and I still had like more than half of the route to take. Had a bunch of these little shrines as you kept going through, the tiny ones inside of it. Cool little picture of a spider web in the rain. I don't know. Occasionally saw some random people walking through. This was such a fun part of this trip.
I'm getting soaked. I'm at the Thousand Torii Gates. It's in the middle of the mountain. This is incredible. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, it was sweet. Some of these videos, I don't know what I was specifically trying to take a photo of. Big old fox doggy thing. I believe this shrine was, I believe it's dedicated to their god of the god of rice or spirit of rice. I think I may be wrong on that. But I recall reading that. Again, a lot of this stuff, it was just like, I just kind of showed up. I didn't really get any context for myself before I arrived at a lot of these locations. Oh, these were all paper cranes, by the way. Like, they look like these almost cloth, but they're all stacked up so tightly, it's like they're spilling out into this fluid little thing. Yeah, here's more of the structures that were kind of at the base of the walk, but it's me getting back on the train, waiting for the train. This one took a while before it even got here, because this was not a normal stop for the metro system. This one's very specifically for this shrine. So got probably a good 15 minutes of waiting here. What's crazy is outside of this one particular stop, if you miss your train in Japan, There is another one that goes to your exact destination like every 3 to 5 minutes. It's crazy how efficient and how easy it is to get around. One of the best things. Little iced matcha. This was delicious. And finally, I was in Shibuya for my last 2 days in Japan. Get to see some Elden Ring Night Rain. This is the famous Shibuya crossing, by the way. This is very close to my hostel. Again, stayed in another hostel on this particular section. Just a lot of billboards, which are kind of fun. Me with my duck umbrella in the rain. And this was inside the hostel. They had a fun little kind of cubicles where they had some cool little things to look at. Went to bed. I didn't really stay up late at all that night. I was just like, I gotta sleep. I think I dehydrated myself at a certain point doing some of these walks. I think it was when I was in Nara. I didn't have enough fluids, and I started feeling like my throat was getting kind of sore. I started losing my voice. I was getting exhausted. Luckily, it was like at the very tail end of the trip. But yeah, I was like, I need to go to bed, and I just need to rest. Got up the next day, just started walking around Shibuya. The thing I always did as I started each new area that I was in, I just walked for probably 2 to 3 hours, just all around anywhere. If something caught my eye, I'd walk inside. If some food interested me, I would just go get it. And I would just kind of get a lay of the land, see where I was and what was going on. The hostel was quite literally like 2 blocks from Shibuya Crossing, so it was very central to this major downtown area. But this is cool. I got a few goodies from this shop. It was very, oh gosh, what is the phrasing for this kind of furniture? I'll remember it later. This is the Sylvanian Families shop. I just had to get a picture of it. It had some cool, there was a whole FromSoft store, like not actually FromSoft, but it was like licensed. So they had all the, like the Silver Cat ring, Covetous Serpent, Life Ring, Ring of something, Wolf's Ring. They had a bunch of really cool stuff. And this was like expensive. These were like $300 rings. I didn't get any merch from this, but it was cool to kind of walk in there and check it out. Went to the Shibuya Nintendo Tokyo store where I got a Kirby plush. I think it was the last one, and I think I got it before someone else could. I think they may have been upset, but you know what? Kirby's life. There was a Capcom booth, and this was all of the Resident Evil styled teas and like other fun stuff. So you get green herb, red herbs. This is cool, getting to see. Got some JoJo World. Love me some JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Pokemon store was cool. I mean, I loved Pokemon when I was a kid. I never really kept up with it too much. I have most of the games, but it was cool to still walk through. It was basically all plushies and other random stuff. This cool shopping center, which had the Nintendo store and other things, had a bunch of other really cool little shops. Loved the glassware that was at this one. All these random little dolls. And then I got some sushi in the same shopping center. It was like down in the basement. This was really, really good sushi. This was probably the best sushi while I was there. This was sweet shrimp. I believe this is fatty tuna, regular tuna. I don't remember what this is. I don't remember what this was. This was a tamago, little egg. I think this one was the mackerel, and this one was eel. This was like the chef's choice. This was just get one of everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, something. It's a lot of everything, but it was their like special platter of a multitude of different things, and it was very delicious. This is the Kirby plush I got. It's very cute. Love me some Kirby. Oh, couldn't be a Japan video without their cool toilets. Wow. This is an interesting building that I saw. Just real. Ignore the Disney store down here. Just the cool architecture of this was just very interesting to me. I liked it. There's people crossing, Shibuya crossing. Got some Elden Ring, Night Rain in the background. Yeah, the first full day I was in Shibuya, I really didn't do too much. I just kind of walked around, ate some food, went to like the few stores that were interesting, like Nintendo, Pokemon. There's a lot of shopping. And this was kind of the point where I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna like actually buy stuff now that I'm out here, because it was really tough to fit things in my suitcase while I was still traveling between different areas. Hachiko Station, I think it was what it was called. This is the loyal dog. Unfortunately, it was like under construction, so it was like covered with this like display. Very difficult to actually get a picture of it. More of Shibuya, just walking around at night. There's so many people out in this area. People waiting to cross. Night rain. This is me getting on the train. So, yes, okay. So this bar right here, this was probably one of the highlights of my trip. And I know what you're saying, Jacob, a bar was the highlight of your trip? What are you, an alcoholic? No. This is in Shinjuku, Golden Gai. The bar, I'll be honest, I don't remember the name. I literally only remember it because I took a picture of the outside of it. It's because it wasn't on Google Maps. This bartender right here, this is the coolest guy in the world. But I think it was like the second day I was in Japan, I went and found this bar. And the only reason I found it is because they had a little sign outside that said jazz, welcome in, and had a tiny speaker that was playing jazz music outside. And I was like, that sounds cool. Let me walk up these stairs and see what this is all about. Walk upstairs. This is the entire bar. It seats 6 people here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then this upper section that I'm in right now is alternative seating. It's literally just a floor. You cannot stand up. This is the ceiling. You literally have to duck to crawl up these stairs if their seating is full down here. But it was the most intimate, amazing conversations with tourists, with travelers, with locals, with the bartender. And it was such a cool thing because on the very first night, or first time I was there, I got a chance to talk to, there was a lot of creatives that were there that just happened to be at the bar. So there was an artist who was having a art show, who lived in Mexico, but was here in Japan. And we got to see some of his art. The bartender ended up going out to that art show later on in the week. He's the one who invited me to the jazz show in Osaka. Met some people that were from Spain, some other people from the US. A lot of Australians were out in Japan when I was there. But I for the very first time I was out there, I was up till 4 a.m. at this bar just having incredible conversations with people. And it was such a cool experience. So I asked the bartender, I was like, when are you going to be back here again? Like, I would love to come back and hang out and get to talk to you. And we followed each other on Instagram, and Yasu is his name. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. He's like, yeah, I'm here every Sunday and Monday. I was like, cool, I will be back. Even though it's a little bit outside of my last stay in Shibuya, I will take a train to Shinjuku. Maybe like a 15-minute train ride, but it's like, I'm going to come back. So this is me coming back to the bar again, getting to hang out. Unfortunately, the bottom was full at first. This is just another angle, so I had to go up to the top. But afterwards, went down, and for that one, I had to stay there until 5 a.m. because the train stopped at midnight or around 12:30. And so I was just there getting to hang out, talk to, again, a bunch of other travelers, a bunch of other tourists, and got to talk to him himself, and he wanted to take some selfies afterwards. He's such a sweet, kind man. Yeah, a little jazz outside. But what's really cool is he used to work in the games industry way back when. He lived in Florida for a little bit, lived in the US. I think it was Florida. And there's just a lot of mutual appreciation for what each other did. And I love just the whole aesthetic that was going on in the bar. It had the jazz music, great cocktails, and it was such a highlight to be able to go back there the second to last day that I was in Japan, and it was so very fun. And this is literally in the morning. I took a picture of this as I was leaving, and then I had to take the train back to my hotel and take a quick little sleep. So the final day that I was in Japan, final full day before I had to get on my flight, I was like, okay, I'm in Tokyo. I need to see something outside of Shibuya and Shinjuku. So that's when I decided to take a couple recommendations from other travelers, other locals, and some things that I personally wanted to do. So someone recommended to me, I think from this bar, to go to a coffee shop that was in, it was like very central Tokyo. So right near the right near the palace, and like very, very center Tokyo. So I took a train just to go to this coffee shop, and my goodness, this was an incredible experience. It's called Glitch Coffee. So what they have here with all of these little coffee pot or cups with coffee beans in them is you get to choose which beans you want in your pour over or your latte. The place primarily focuses on the pour over experience, and they allow you to kind of smell the beans beforehand, kind of make your choices. And if you're not familiar with coffees or you're not like a coffee person, this may not mean much to you, but a lot of their coffees towards the far end were competition style coffees. So like extremely high end, literally used in coffee competitions for brewing. And these were the most expensive ones, whereas these ones down here were single origin, still great, but just cheaper options. And then everything in between, kind of that low grade single origin to the highest end beans. When you're in Japan, if you want to get a cup of coffee, it's probably a couple dollars. I splurged. This up here, I think it was close to $15 to $20. I got one of these for the pour over because I was like, I have to try this. I have to see what this is about. And this is how it came in a little carafe. Is that how you say it? Carafe? Carafe? I don't know how you say it. Roast me. Pun not intended. And then you had your little cup here. This was, I can only describe it as enjoying the finest of fine wines, where it was so complex. It was so, like, it was just straight coffee, but it was so sweet. It had incredible depth of flavor, and I'm not lying when I say this was the greatest coffee I've had in my entire life. This one in particular, its tasting notes were red wine, blackberry, chocolate, long after, and juicy. And it was a geisha variety. So I think this was actually one step below the competitive. And my goodness, it was so good. It was so good. I have to take some videos in this place. It was great. It was absolutely great. Yeah, this is the geisha variety that I had. And then I also did a latte. I got two coffees because I was like, I got to try them both. This one was, it was a latte. There was nothing particularly special about it. I mean, it was great. But unfortunately, like the tasting notes, they're not there when it's in a milk-based latte in the same way. So this one was a much cheaper one. I think I spent maybe like $5 on this coffee. But yeah, it was delicious. Went there. And then afterwards, I took another train. Oh gosh, I actually have to pull up my Google Maps for this because I don't quite recall which city I went to afterwards. Let's take a look. I went to Sakasa. I think it was near there. Essentially, it was an entire section dedicated to kitchen gear, restaurant equipment, and kitchen knives and things like that sort. So walked around hundreds of shops, like literally just walk in and out, just trying to find some interesting stuff. Got some cool little goodies. This one was like a whole coffee shop section, which was cool. These giant teacups on the building, which was amazing. Got a little curry bread. Oh, this is me.
Officially my last day here in Japan. Very sad. Very bittersweet. Very nice to go home and rest, but currently I'm just trying
You can tell how exhausted I am.
Tokyo as possible at this point, and I'm in Osaka right now.
Okay, yeah.
Doing a little bit of last minute shopping. There's the like restaurant and food service shopping.
Sorry, I just said all this.
Checking out. Got a few goodies. My voice is shot.
Yeah, my voice was slowly disappearing through this.
I'm having such a great time out here. So yeah. So so grateful for this trip. It's been fantastic. Look at this big old giant tower off in the distance. I don't even know what it is. I gotta look it up. But yeah, I gotta get back to my hostel a little bit, freshen up, get a good shower in me before I get the rest of the night going. Be staying in Shibuya tonight before I head home. Thanks for watching along with this little journey I've had. Later.
I didn't end up posting that anywhere, but I was like, I'll just take a video. This was the giant thing. I didn't even look it up. I don't know what it was. No clue what it was. Someone enlighten me, please. And then also in this kind of kitchen area, Yasu, the bartender, he recommended I go to this place for some really good barware. So I got a nice glass, a cool like retro style chopstick rest, and a bar spoon, which I really enjoy. Iggy, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Oh yeah, I went then after Sakasa. I went to, gosh, what is this place called? I did so much when I was out there. Akihabara. So this is the like anime and gaming portion of Tokyo. So this is where all the figurines are. This is where all the anime girls, all the video games. This is a bunch of cool Game Boy and Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color. A lot of JoJo figurines. Giant Maneki Neko hands. Found this little shop. Unfortunately, these were all such short-lived kind of little adventures in each of these different sections. Oh yeah. And then got back to my hostel, ended up hanging out with quite a few people that were there, and I convinced a bunch of people. I was like, hey, let's all go get this ramen place that I just saw. I don't know if it's good, but it looks amazing. And they're like, oh, we should go to this other place that is, it's like a chain, and I've seen them everywhere, and they don't look very, frankly, it doesn't look great, because I haven't had good ramen this whole trip. And so I convinced them to go to this place, walk to it. It's the style where you put in money into a little machine, and then it pops out a ticket, give the ticket to the cook, or the person that's running the tables here. And this was the best ramen I've had in my life. This was so good. This was so good. I got some gyoza, I got this ramen, and like the second we sat down and this man started cooking, I knew this was gonna be incredible, because he had turned on the giant wok, or rather the giant stove, and had a massive wok, and was getting, some other guys ordered like a spicy miso ramen. This was a shoyu, very specific, like Tokyo's more famous for shoyu ramen, which is a salt ramen, or like soy sauce style ramen. So it's very clear, clean broth. Very good, very, very good. But he turned on this giant wok. It was just like going crazy making this mix, and you could just tell this guy was an expert at what he did. And as soon as he put this down, I was like, oh my gosh, this looks so good. I devoured the entire thing. And everybody else that was with me was like, this was incredible. This was the best ramen I've ever had. Everyone agreed. It was amazing. And at this point, everybody's like, oh, we should keep going, keep doing some other stuff. And I was like, okay, maybe. I started not feeling good a little, like shortly afterwards. I was like, oh, my voice was 100% gone. I could barely speak. And ended up finding some like seltzer water. It was pretty good. And I woke up the next morning and I was sick, unfortunately. I think I had gotten a cold. And I think it's a combination of, again, being dehydrated, walking too much, not getting the proper liquids and rest that I needed. Stayed up really, really late at some of these bars, and then woke up really early. It was a lot. It was a lot of adventuring. I walked so much, and I definitely didn't give my body enough time to rest between it. And also, in all of these places I was staying in hostels that were very open air, lots and lots of people from all different walks of life. So I'm sure I picked up something from somebody. My time in Osaka at the more traditional hostel with the bunk beds, like that was probably my least favorite stay, just because it wasn't It wasn't the best. Like the guy below me was snoring so loud it was shaking the entire bunk bed. Like other people many bunks away were kicking the bunk beds trying to wake this guy up to make him stop snoring. They left the windows open at one night. I think I got like mosquito bites. It was rough. But yeah, so next morning I was like, all right, gotta get one last egg sando. Gotta get this was a lemon espresso tonic, which was delicious. And went back to this place, was checking out stuff, and had to board my flight. Got home. Unfortunately, the whole flight, I was just like, just runny nose. I didn't have a fever or anything. It was just like congestion, basically, was the whole thing. Congestion and lost my voice. A runny nose, everything was awful. But here's some of the goodies I ended up getting on the trip. I got this really cool tote when I was in Shinjuku. This is like a vintage Japanese like kids brand from the 90s. But it was really cool. It was selling it inside of this store that had a bunch of cool retro gear, like Sony Walkmans and stuff like that. This giant Kirby, and underneath is a interesting little pillow I bought too. This little buckwheat shell filled pillow. It's actually really nice. I really like it. Got a little Kirby figure. It's pretty cute. Brought home quite a few snacks. I've eaten almost all of these except for these Kit Kats, which I'm saving to share with my family. They've got a little crushed on the flight back, but that's okay. I'm still eating these things. These are really good. Oh, these are the 2 snacks I got in Kyoto. These are just peanuts. Oh, this is I can't remember if it was tea or coffee. This is the tattooist. The tattoo artist gave us these after she was done with the tattoo because she designed all the packaging, which was really cool. These little sour, they weren't even sour. They're just little lemon candies were great. Strawberry chocolates, some Pocky. These were really good. This is like a melon mochi. Very delicious. These were some of the goodies I got. This was a matcha mixing bowl with the whisk. This is the bar spoon with a fork on the side. This is a nice Japanese glass. Little amber glass. Very nice pair of chopsticks. This little chopstick holder thing. This is a ceramic espresso. No, this one is the ceramic espresso cup from Glitch Coffee. This is a tiny, it's almost like a small sake cup. And just some other random little things that I got around different places. Oh, and this is the very first time I was at the bar, just some of the random people that were there. So it's cool. But yeah, that's all the photos that I took. That is literally everything. I hope you enjoyed my story time, my slideshow. This is going on for 2 hours. Oh my gosh. I didn't expect this to be this long of a video. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed sitting through this. So a few more things. Just some interesting things about Japan. Again, this is my first time really outside of the US. I've traveled once, or actually technically twice, to Haiti, but again, it was a very brief trip and it wasn't that far away from the US. I've traveled a ton within the US itself, but I've really never gone outside of the US. So this is my first really big trip for myself. And especially going without anyone else, doing this as a solo trip, doing it without any major planning, not knowing really any of the language. I picked up some few phrases here and there that I felt were helpful along the way. Arigato gozaimasu, thank you very much, was just really, really basic phrases. Sumimasen, excuse me, or sumimasen, like an actual, like, sorry, excuse me. If you're kind of like bumping into somebody or need someone to scoot over if you're walking through. One thing that a lot of people really enjoyed, especially particularly at restaurants, was saying like, oh, thank you, that was very, very delicious after your meal. So I don't know if I have it right now at this point, but I like memorized oishikatta desu, which means it was very good or it was very delicious. And I usually get quite a few thank yous from that, and some little bows from the restaurateurs. So it was sweet getting to interact with people in that way. And it's such an interesting culture shock to kind of visit somewhere outside of where you've been born and raised, because you get to see these different cultures. And like, this is all stuff I knew kind of going to Japan, like that the culture was different, but just being able to be in it was was, I don't know how to explain it. It's surreal, I guess. It's surreal to kind of be there and get to experience all that. And it was such a lovely thing. And it was such a needed experience for me, because I've been basically since 2019, I've been almost essentially a shut-in here at home, outside of going and exploring around my own little city. And really the only trips I've taken since I think 2018 are trips for YouTube, which is going to like Boston for PAX East, or doing some things in LA, or maybe San Diego for TwitchCon. And it was such a nice time to be able to just not think about work, frankly, get to enjoy a culture in a new place, get to enjoy so much incredible food. I'm such a foodie, so food was such an amazing thing for me. And I love Japanese food. Like, there's plenty of Japanese restaurants around me, so I knew what I was getting into with food and all of that. And I love exploring, and I love to be able to just get up and go, and I love to be spontaneous, so that was amazing. I love people, so that's something that like really lifted my spirits too, was being able to actually be amongst others, have an interesting kind of community while I was there between all of the hostels I was staying at. I think I probably would have been slightly miserable if I stayed in legit hotels, I'm not gonna lie, because I would have been very solitary in a place that is crowded and solitary at the same time. But being in the hostels allowed me to, in between going out and wandering the city, I'd have some place to come back to and kind of recoup, but also be with other people. So I had a lot of amazing conversations with different people from different backgrounds, and just had very late nights talking with one person or another, or a group, or just getting to just see what other people are about. And that's something I've always loved, and it was so nice to kind of be back in that, and just to be out of the US too. Like, there's a lot of crap going on around here right now, and it's kind of good to kind of be refreshed with something else, in all honesty. So it's nice to just kind of be somewhere else. Japan was so incredibly safe. I could walk around anywhere in the middle of the night and be totally fine. A lot of other tourists were kind of going on that same idea, just being like, yeah, if I was in X area or a city, country, whatever, like I couldn't walk around with my phone because someone would snag it. And while I was in Japan, like I had to be on my phone like 99% of the time just to navigate, first of all, and then to translate. And so it was like, I never once thought to myself like, oh, I should put my phone away in case somebody's sketchy is going to steal it. But no, that was never the case. I feel like if you do go to Japan, obviously, like me, the kind of person that I am, I'm very conscious of other cultures and other people's boundaries, and just being respectful in the spaces that I'm in. And like even in like some of the hostel situations, like some of these tourists, not even necessarily Americans, but some of them were pretty loud and boisterous, especially in like restaurants. And like I felt kind of like cringed out by them, because it is not like that in Japan. Like it's very quiet, respectable. Maybe if you're in a bar like late at night and having some drinks, yes, you can be kind of loud and rowdy, but not when you're like sitting down for some food. It's like even on the subways, like again, I'm sure if you've seen any Japan videos, you hear about this all the time, but it is so quiet and everybody respects one another, and it's very community focused. They have a very community and others focused just society. So that was a really, really, really nice thing about being in Japan. And I'm trying to think of anything else. There's so much that I'm missing, obviously, from the trip. If you go, honestly, the same couple things that saved my life. Make sure you wear comfy shoes. Don't pack too much. I brought literally backpack and a small carry-on. My recommendation, if you're going to go to Japan, do not bring more luggage than you are willing to carry up 100 flight of stairs. Almost every train station is going to be getting off and going up at least 20 flight of stairs, and it's rare that I found an elevator or an escalator. There were escalators, but it was rare. So there's a lot of carrying luggage around. I'm so glad I didn't overpack. I actually overpacked, I think, with a small carry-on and backpack. I probably could have done even less. But doing that, Google Translate and Google Maps was a lifesaver. I bought, when I was out there, one of those little MagSafe battery packs so that my phone could stay charged the whole time. That was great. Other than that, I pretty much, it's one of those things where like I definitely overpacked because I was like, oh, what if I forget this item and I don't have it while I'm out there? Well, dummy Jacob, you can just buy things. If you forgot an umbrella, you can just buy an umbrella while you're out there. And it's probably cheaper than buying one in the US. You can just bring it home with you, and it's great. Flights were miserable. I hate flying. I like flying, but I don't like being stuck. I don't like being stuck for 10 hours. Couldn't sleep either flight. It was rough. It was rough, but you know, it's part of the experience. Lost my voice. Felt awful for like a week after I got home. Basically just dripping snot everywhere, but other than that, it was fine. Yeah. That's about it. I hope you enjoyed my little story time here of Japan, my travels, my trip. Again, thank you all so very much for allowing me the capacity to do what I do here on YouTube and allowing me to take the trip of a lifetime, frankly. This is something I've wanted to do for my entire life, and I don't think I would be able to do it in this kind of capacity if I still had a traditional job. I was even thinking when I was out there, I was like, yeah, if I could have afforded this easily at my last job, but I wouldn't have had the time. And that's the struggle with working a 9-to-5. It's just, you can make a lot of money, make very consistent money rather. But it's tough, at least in the US, with US culture, to get time off and to accrue vacation and things like that without like quitting a job or having like a very unique job that's like, yeah, sure, take unlimited time off. But even that has like drawbacks. So I'm so very thankful and grateful to have this kind of job where I can get up and go and have you all be patient with me while I'm getting some videos out sporadically or maybe a little delayed on videos. And while this isn't the best paying job in the world, it's an incredible job that I'm able to do what I love and have time to do things that I love. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for allowing this to be something that I could do. So I hope that this is me giving back in some way of this trip. That is like a thank you for allowing me to do this. Hopefully you had fun sitting through 2 hours of me explaining my trip to Japan. I know I missed a lot of information. I will keep track of the comments on this one. If you have questions about Japan, let me know. I don't know if I'll be able to answer them, but I'll do my best. I think one thing that I do want to say is now that I've been, I want to go back already. Like as soon as possible, I would love to go back to Japan and maybe visit some other countries around Asia. I know a lot of people were doing, like, when they were in Japan, they were also going to South Korea, and I think a couple people were going to China. Oh, and by the way, sorry, almost forgot the tattoo. Forgot about the tattoo. So I got a giant owl tattooed on my thigh. You get to see it right here, right now. Boom. I mean, it's still technically in the healing process. I mean, this is not the best angle for you all. But yeah, I got this sick tattoo while I was out there. I know this is awful angle and everything. Pretty bad. But the artist was, she was from China. So she was doing a like guest spot at the tattoo shop for 2 days only in Osaka when I was there, and had one availability, and I got that availability. Had the chance to get this amazing tattoo from this incredible artist, and that was such a serendipitous moment, and I really enjoyed it. That was super fun. But yeah, I want to be able to go back at some point. I would love to actually learn some Japanese, at least more phrases, not like obviously I wouldn't be fluent, I'm sure, but just to have more conversational, maybe just real basic phrases in my bank before I go, because again, just being able to converse with people is a privilege. And when you're in another country that doesn't primarily speak English, it's like, I want to be able to talk to people, but you just can't sometimes. And the Japanese people are so kind and so nice that even if they don't speak English and you're trying to like ask a question or something, they'll be like, oh, and they'll walk you somewhere. Like if I was in a convenience store or a department store or something like that, and I need to find, I think it was like nail clippers or something. And this lady, like I showed a picture and she's like, oh, and she like walked me over to the place rather than just being like, oh, it's over there. She's like, oh, let me take you with me. Obviously, I didn't speak Japanese, she didn't speak English, so it was all just implied like help. And there were so many situations like that where it's just people being so nice, so kind, so helpful, and very accommodating place to be when I was out there. So it was lovely, very, very lovely. But anyway, I think I've yapped on long enough. So thank you all so much for being here. Yeah. I was gonna do my normal outro, but it doesn't feel normal to do this outro. So I guess what I'll just say is feel free to go follow me on my Instagram, is where I'll post, I think, any of those edited good photos from my main camera. I might post them on Discord too. Who knows, after I do some like editing. But feel free to follow me. Any of those links are in the description down below. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Leave a comment down below. Love to hear any thoughts and feelings from you all and any questions that you have. I'll try to answer as many as I can. But with all that being said, you all are awesome. You all are amazing. And I cannot wait to see you all in the next video. Later. Little figurines. Little wizards. Don't you put your hand in that hole. Don't. Ooh, do I put my hand in the hole? I'm putting my hand in the hole.